Good morning to you and welcome to Eye on New Mexico. I'm Chris Ramirez. We have a great show for you today. For the first half, we're going to be talking to the exiting APD Police Chief Alan Banks. Then we're going to visit some athletes in New Mexico who have proven that they have a champion spirit. Well, Chief Banks, thank you first of all for being here today. I am saddened by the fact that we're doing this interview because this will be your last interview here in New Mexico as police chief.
Yes, it is.
So we're going to come back to you in just a second. It's been a big week in New Mexico media, particularly when it comes to the Albuquerque Police Department. Chief Alan Banks handed over the department to Gordon Eden this week. On Wednesday, Mayor Barry swore in Gordon Eden as the new leader for APD. Eden had been serving as the Cabinet Secretary of Public Safety in the Martinez administration. Let's talk about you leaving first, what you're going to be doing, where you're heading. Most people know, but let's recap for them anyway.
Absolutely. I'm going to be headed to Round Rock, Texas, which is a suburb right outside of Austin. And you'll be the police chief there? That is correct.
How big is that department?
About 150 sworn officers, 50 civilians, so total about 200 personnel.
It's a lot. That's quite a bit smaller than what you're used to at Albuquerque Police Department.
And it is, but I'm actually honored that Steve Norwood, the city manager out there, had faith in me, wanted me to come in and help grow that department. The city's a growing city, growing community, and it gives me the opportunity to go out there and give back to that community.
And just so that you at home know, Round Rock is actually a suburb of Austin. It's part of the greater metropolitan of Austin, right?
That is correct.
And what do you think will be some of the key differences between that community, which is more of a suburb community, versus Albuquerque, where it's really, we're here in the most metropolitan area of our state?
Well, you know, it doesn't matter where you go and what community you're in. Law enforcement will always have its challenges and always have its rewards. And, you know, I get to go into this community, and it's a smaller community, but I get to go in and be the chief of police in that community and be part of that community. The great part about it is I leave here with the whole host of knowledge, being here in a big city, and get to take it to a smaller city and help them grow.
You know, Chief Banks and I actually got to know each other several years ago. I got to know you particularly better when I was working with Mayor Barry inside the mayor's office, and at the time you were the deputy chief. And you know, I always found that you had a really high level of integrity, and you're a straight shooter. And I think when you work in the political arena, you really value those straight shooters and the people who will tell you the information, even if it's hard to hear. And I think when you talk to people in the city and in the law enforcement community, and probably with the officers who you led, they'll probably say the same thing.
And I agree with you, Chris. And I was raised just to say what I know, and I don't beat around the bush, and I tell you exactly how it is. And it's a level of respect. You know, you need to know whether it's good or if it's bad. And I will not sit there and pretend like it's good or if it's bad. I will tell you, and I think it's important.
You came into the chief's position here at APD after Ray Schultz retired and Mayor Barry named you interim chief. In conversations that you and I have had in the past, being the chief of police has always been a career goal for you, a career ambition, right? Tell me about
law enforcement. Law enforcement in general has been my calling. I've always said I've had a servant's heart. And just the mere fact I made it to interim chief or chief of police is just a blessing to me. It gives me the opportunity to teach, to mentor, to coach, to help, to train in law enforcement. I just love the profession.
We've met, you know, sometimes I think what we're guilty of is we highlight a lot of the times when members of the Albuquerque Police Department do something wrong. But you would probably say that by far and large, they're doing the right thing, and for a long time you got to be the leader of that.
And you're absolutely correct. Thank you for bringing that up. And I think we have a wonderful department. This will always be my department, and like I said, I get to go to Round Rock and start fresh over there with the new department. But the citizens, the city of Albuquerque, should be very, very proud of the police officers for Albuquerque Police Department, because majority of the time they are doing the right thing, and they're doing it because they care about this community.
Did you ever take it personal? I know a lot of times we had to come to you as reporters and say, hey, you know, we saw that this one particular police officer wasn't doing the right thing, or, you know, there was a big mistake here. And you had to answer to that because you were the chief or a deputy chief, which is another leadership position. When you had to speak on those kinds of stories and those moments, how did it make you feel? I mean, you grew up with a lot of these guys and girls, and here you are having to talk about them on the news.
You know, and I always said, if you make a mistake, then you own up to it, and you have to deal with those consequences. A lot of times when the media would come to us with whatever problem was going on, you know, one of the things with the officers, they have a collective bargaining agreement. They also have due process, and I think the media really wanted us to push and find, you know, the answers and what went wrong and everything right away within, you know, a 24-hour period. It just doesn't work that way, and I think that's probably was the most frustrating part, is trying to answer to the media, but yet trying to make sure that we're doing the right thing for the officers. Because at the end of the day, if the officers are doing anything inappropriate, it affects them, it affects the citizens of Albuquerque, and we just wanted to make sure we did the right things.
Now, you and I in previous interviews have talked about this, where it's a difficult time for APD right now. There's a lot of folks in the community who are concerned. We obviously have a Department of Justice investigation. There have been some other high-profile cases. As you leave, what's your hope for the department, and do you hope that you're turning it over to Gordon Eden in even better shape than what you got it from when Chief Schultz left? I mean, what's your thought process with the relationship between the community and APD?
And I think the relationship with the community and APD actually is a good relationship. When I was given the opportunity in August to be interim chief of police at that time, I had the opportunity to go out and speak to the public and speak to a lot of the community leaders. And speak to the officers within our department. And, you know, it is a great department, and those challenges are there, and it's something that the department is going to work through. And I know this department will continue to go forward. I know it's a great department. It really is. Those issues will work themselves out.
Have you had any private conversations with Gordon Eden to say, hey, here's where some of the pitfalls might be, or watch out for this, or hey, that reporter is pretty sneaky? I mean, have you have you had those kinds of conversations with him?
I have not. You know, Chief Eden, he was busy over in Santa Fe during the legislative session, so he had to try to finish that out and take care of some of his business so he could move over here. So we didn't have that opportunity to talk about that stuff. But, you know, he's been in law enforcement since 1975. He's been in the game for a long time, and he knows what he's doing.
Were you happy with Mayor Berry's pick after you had decided that you were going to take your name out of the hat, and that you no longer wanted Mayor Berry to consider you for the position because you accepted the position at Round Rock? When Mayor Berry selected Gordon Eden, were you happy with that decision?
Yeah, I've known Gordon for a very long time. Through obviously our law enforcement careers, we're both very religious men. We're both from Albuquerque, and I just hope the best for Gordon. I wish him the best, you know, this department will continue to go forward, and I know Mr. Eden will make the right choices in this position.
What, if you could give Chief Eden a last bit of advice, what do you think it would be if he was here in this chair instead of me? Well, what do you think you would tell him?
I tell you what, Gordon has been doing this since 1975, and I was 4 years old then when he started his career. So there's no advice I could give him. The man knows law enforcement. He knows, you know, the ins and outs. He knows the politics behind it, and so for me to give him advice wouldn't be the best thing to do. He knows what he's doing.
That's very humble of you to say. I don't know if I could find that kind of humility. You know, Chief, I've always really appreciated your candidness. I've always really appreciated our conversations, both on air and off of air. And I know that here in Albuquerque, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to miss you. And I think there's a lot of police officers who are really hoping and championing that you would be the permanent chief for years to come. As you leave this community, which is your community, you grew up here, you made your law enforcement career here, what are some of the things that you're going to remember about Albuquerque? Chris,
this will always be home to me. Like I said, I have a great opportunity in Round Rock, but I was born and raised here. I still have family here, so I have the opportunity to come back. You know, the biggest memories is I have 3 beautiful children that were born here as well in Albuquerque, and you know, my daughter's a junior. You know, we leave her senior year. She's ready to be a senior. My other son's a sophomore. And then my youngest is 9 years old, and just the mere fact that, you know, this was their community as well. I've had a lot of support, and you're absolutely right. A lot of people wanted me to be the chief here in Albuquerque, but God has a plan, and I truly believe His plan is for me to move on and help Round Rock build.
You and I had the same boss for a while, Mayor Barry. When you told Mayor Barry that you wanted that you were going to move on to a different pasture, how was he? Was he receptive? Was he understanding of your personal decision?
He was. We had a very good conversation. Most recently, we had a very good exit interview, and I told him, you know, what I would have done if I continued, and maybe it'll help with the new chief coming in. I think I brought it on them pretty quick. I think I surprised a lot of people, and that wasn't my intent. My intent was I needed to secure my future, and most importantly, I'm born and raised as a servant and to be in law enforcement, and Round Rock secured that future for me. They're giving me that opportunity, and I look forward to serving with them.
Well, they are extraordinarily fortunate to have somebody with your experience and your caliber and your knowledge. What do you think you'll take away? And I'll start winding down my questions here. Of all the things that you've learned here in Albuquerque, both as, you know, the guy in the patrol car in your younger days to the guy with the golden badge in the chief's chair, what lessons do you think you'll be able to take to Round Rock?
One of the biggest lessons is treat everybody with respect. I don't care if you're a homeless person, and I don't care if you're making $5 million a year. Always extend a hand, always say hello, always acknowledge that person, and just treat that person with respect. And that's the biggest part. You know, the badge is not bigger than the person. The uniform is not bigger than the person. It's earned, but it's earned because you are there to serve and to protect those in that community. And that's what I take away from it. For over 21 years, that's how I led my life in law enforcement, and I will continue to do that.
Your family pretty excited to move to Texas?
Well, I'll tell you, my immediate family, they're very excited to move to Texas. My mother and my brother weren't that happy with me moving and leaving Albuquerque. So.
You had mentioned that your in-laws, or you have some in-laws that live in that area as well, right?
Absolutely. They actually moved there 3 years ago because of financial issues, and so they moved to that area. My sister goes to the University of Texas, so it actually, we have roots there now, so it's good that we get to go down there and spend some time with them.
From the bottom of my heart, Chief, I've really enjoyed working with you when we worked together at the city, and as my role as a reporter, an investigative reporter. I know that I've posed some really difficult questions your way, and I've always felt like you handled them with grace and with your straight shooting attitude, and I've appreciated working with you. So thank you, and from all of us here at KOB, we wish you nothing but the best of luck, and we hope when you come back, whether it's for Christmas or summer or whatever, that you'll drop by and you'll say hi and let us know how things are going with you at Round Rock.
And I absolutely will, Chris, and I appreciate you. You've always been professional with me, and more than that, you've been a good friend, and I appreciate the time, the opportunity, and I wish you luck as well.
We're going to need tissues over here.
Yeah, no doubt.
Chief, thank you. When we come back, we're going to meet a lot of people who have proven that they have a champion spirit. And welcome back to Eye on New Mexico. Well, the 2014 Winter Olympic Games are over, but here in New Mexico, many young athletes are polishing their talents, hoping to make it into the next Olympic Games. And during the month of February, KOB Eyewitness News 4 featured a number of winter athletes showing dedication and a winning attitude. Take the kid in this next story coming up as an example. He's from Santa Fe and is training to be in the next Winter Olympics in South Korea. The young figure skater shows us his champion spirit.
For 12-year-old Junhong Chen of Santa Fe, it all started with a friend's birthday 9 years ago. The party was at a skating rink, and Junhong loved it.
When you skate, I like that cold breeze on you, kind of. And just doing jumps and spinning, I like that.
Over the years, his love of skating has grown, so has his talent. And he has a dream about where this is all leading.
I want to go to the Olympics, the 2018. And hopefully 2022.
The road there includes day after day of warm-ups, practice, and mastering those eye-popping jumps.
Yeah, it's really pretty fun, yeah. Well, until you fall, then that's not so fun. Kind of just like falling on concrete.
In the first few months after he started jumping, Junhong says he cracked his helmet from falling so many times. But that didn't stop him.
That just gave me confidence to do more jumps and learn more.
He's mastered the double axel, and now he's working on the triple sow cow and triple toe loop.
Yeah, I'm working on these triple jumps, and I always fall on them, but they're fun when you're in the air.
It's 4 years until the Winter Games in Korea, and Junhong would love to put his home state in the international spotlight.
I kind of come from like a small state that nobody really knows about. So if I get into the Olympics, then kind of make New Mexico a bit popular.
That was Danielle Tedesco reporting. Well, our next kid, he's been on the slope since he learned to walk and has been a champion almost every step of the way. Our JP Murrieta introduces us to a UNM skier who is liking his chances in the 2018 Winter Olympics.
It's a sport where a fraction of a second means the difference between first and last. And it feels like UNM skier Jonas Rasanen is even closer to making his dream come true. Jonas hopes to ski for his home country of Finland in the 2018 Winter Olympics. As you can imagine, growing up in a country like Finland, he started skiing when he was about 1.5 years old. His mom ran a ski school close to their home.
She would take me and my brother out there every day and teach kids how to ski, and we would be over there and just hang out. And then when we were old enough, we could start skiing ourselves, and we would ski there all day.
Jonas took to skiing like a fish to water. He says he loves the variety of challenges every day.
When you go out ski racing, it's like the weather changes, the snow conditions change, and then maybe if the 2 days are the same, the coaches can set totally different courses in it.
No matter what the course, he seems to master it. Jonas won the NCAA men's slalom national title last year, one of his 4 victories in 2013.
I remember going in there and knowing that I can win, but to actually pull it off was pretty cool. It was like the first big thing I've ever won.
But it certainly won't be his last. Jonas went to Europe in December and won the World University Games. He then had the opportunity to ski in 3 World Cup events.
It was awesome to be out there and train with the top guys in the world and see that I'm actually not that far out from everyone. I mean, I have to do a lot of work still, but I'm pretty close there. So
close that he thinks his chances of making the 2018 Winter Games could be a reality.
If I just work hard and put my mind to it, I'm sure I can get in there, and that would be awesome to ski for my country and for the school and stuff like that.
A fraction of a second is all it takes for the dream of a lifetime to come true. In Albuquerque, I'm JP Murrieta, KOB Eyewitness Sports 4.
Behind every Olympic athlete is a coach who also puts in long hours and hard work. We look at the champion spirit from a coach's point of view, a coach who practices what he preaches.
Some are just driven people, but some are totally committed and have a love for the sport.
Klaus Weber knows the champion spirit when he sees it. He was born in Switzerland, the son of a French professional soccer player, but it was in America and New Mexico that he made his own mark. He led the UNM Lobos to historic highs coaching cross-country skiing, and then put UNM soccer on the path to success.
So that's perfect passing on the ground.
And since 2002, he's been coaching high schoolers at Bosque.
Good. Bring it inside.
He says the most dedicated athletes have a combination of passion, and sacrifice.
Sacrifice also can be translated into love, into really caring for your sport.
It's a love that Weber himself shares. He is a regular competitor in the Mount Taylor Quadrathlon. That's biking, skiing, running, and snowshoeing at high elevation.
You know, I'm 71 this spring. It's no longer I'm first or last. It's just a matter of finishing an event. What do you tell people when you do a 100-mile run or in the mountains like Leadville or the Western State? People say that's insane. And you say, no, it's just a day and a night in the mountains, because we all have that ability. It's believing it that you can do it and then lead up to that.
That was Tom Joles reporting. Our next story. A New Mexico man is proving that anyone who shows dedication and passion can also have a champion spirit. He's a small businessman who found his new passion in speed skating, and in just a few short years, he's already placed among the top in the region. Kim Tobin has his story.
You have to really pace yourself. We skate up to 30 miles an hour.
By day, Jamie Shelton runs his own bookkeeping business in Santa Fe. By night, or very early in the morning, he's training for his newest athletic high,
speed skating.
Speed skating was one of those things that, you know, you see it on the Olympics or you see it on television, and it's one of those things you just kind of fantasize about, like, wow, they're going so fast and it looks like so much fun.
Shelton has always been active, but he never knew he'd love speed skating until he read an article by a Santa Fe trainer 4 years ago. So he gave it a try, and he was a natural.
The first time you reach down and you touch the ice on a corner is like, oh my gosh, I'm a big player now.
After training for a couple years, he started competing in regional races in Colorado, and he took home the gold in 2012.
It's easy to go fast. That's the easy part. Staying up, having the stability, and being able to concentrate and stay on your line are the most important things.
Shelton says he skates because he loves it. And he says if you want to try something out of your comfort zone, you have to enjoy it and do it for yourself, not for anyone else.
I come out here 3 times a week, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning because it's what I want to do. And if it's what you really want to do, it will just come to you.
Reporting in Albuquerque, Kim Tobin, KOB Eyewitness News 4.
The road to the Olympics can take surprising detours. For one local woman, the road takes her through an Albuquerque high school and into a sport where she had never even competed before, and ultimately to the U.S. Olympic team. Our Tom Joles has more.
Deanna McGillivray teaches phys ed at Highland High School. These days, you'll find her coaching a group of energetic students in the eye-popping acrobatic sport of parkour.
1, 2, 3.
But that's not where she started, and that's not her final destination. This Olympic story starts with rugby. As a member of the U.S. national team, she failed to qualify for the Olympics. She thought the dream was over, until she was inspired by Albuquerque's young people. The students had been teaching each other parkour tricks.
Until Miss McGillivray came and we told her, and she's like, yeah, of course, we'll do it.
A lot of these kids don't have some of the resources for other things, but the world is always going to be out there, outside.
And a hardcore parkour Hornets club was born. Next, the desire to start a handball team at Highland. McGillivray reached out to a national coach in Alabama to get help with resources for a new team.
He said, oh, we've got a tryout coming up here soon. Just come fly out and check it out. And I went for just an experience, not expecting anything. And by the end of the tryout, the coach was just like, yeah, we want you.
Committing to Team USA means leaving New Mexico this summer for a residency training program and ultimately to Brazil in the 2016 Summer Games.
We like her, we wish she can stay, but as we all know, she's in the Olympics, so we're proud of her for doing that.
They taught me to just be as courageous as them, or just to be a kid with them.
It feels very appropriate that we salute all of the parents who make sacrifices for their champion children. You're about to meet a super dad who is helping his kids achieve their dreams of skating in the Olympics someday.
10 years ago, this skating rink in Santa Fe would be an unlikely place to find Shinju Chen. He's a scientist who trained at MIT.
I have a PhD in aerospace engineering, and so when I approach the skating, it's a little bit like physics experiment, right?
His kids are the reason he's here. They fell in love with figure skating, and Dad wanted to be part of it.
They get on the ice, they were always very happy, and they enjoy what they were doing. So I think having fun was the biggest focus we had.
That focus got more serious as it became clear these kids were really talented. It was recommended his daughter go to Colorado Springs to train for the 2018 Winter Olympics in South Korea. But his job was here. So Chen says he made skating a part of his job too, adding coach to his resume.
It's just like a bungee cord.
And like the top-tier coaches, he uses a pole harness to help students land those amazing triple jumps. He says the pole gives just enough lift to give the skater more time to rotate and more confidence.
You don't want them to keep falling down, and they'll get discouraged, and they'll get injured, and they will fear the jump.
And Chen decided he needed to learn to skate too, to really understand the process. His daughter is following her dream in Colorado Springs now, and her scientist skater dad knows this is part of the journey.
You know, you train so hard and you go to competition, it's not a guarantee you're going to do well. So I think the biggest thing from learning from skating is not to give up.
That was Danielle Tedesco reporting, and we are thankful to all of the champions with the winning spirit for sharing their stories with us. I'll see you back here tonight for KOB Eyewitness News 4 at 5 and 10 o'clock. Have a wonderful morning and a safe day, and we'll see you soon.